You've gathered your literature, now it's time to gather your data. And if that sounds like a really cool crossover between a Wizards of the Coast card game and Star Trek, it's even cooler. Gathering data is your field research, or what you are doing in your field research is gathering data. So you've got your question, you've got your method, you've got your literature. Now you're going to add new knowledge. You're going to go out in the field, that's why we call it field research, and you're going to interview people, send out questionnaires, compare sources, because that's another valid way of doing this. You don't always have to talk to people. I know, right? Introverts go, yay, or it's just happening in their minds. They're not actually going, yay, that's more of an extrovert thing. I don't know, I'm introverted. This is a party for me. Whatever method, whatever tool you choose to work with for your field research, you need to make sure that it does two things, or that it is two things. It needs to be valid, and it needs to be reliable. Validity means, for the tool to be valid, it has to measure the right thing, so give you the correct information, the information that you're looking for. If I want to find out how much I'm weighing right now, which I really don't want to find out, I should use the scales, and I shouldn't use like a measuring tape, right? So scales, valid. Measuring tape, not valid in this case. Reliability means that your tool should give you the same output, the same outcome, every time you put in the same kind of information. So if I use those scales, if I stand on those scales, it shouldn't matter if it's a cold day or if it's a humid day. The scales should always tell me how many kilograms I am, independent of other factors. And that goes for your research instrument as well. So you should ask people the same questions. You should ask the right type of questions. So is it giving you the same output every time? Is it reliable? There are very, very, very many research tools, so I cannot go into all of them here in this video. These videos so far have been like 4 to 5 minutes, but I can give you some information about the most important parts of your research tool. You need to be aware, is it a quantitative tool or a qualitative tool? So are you gathering a lot of numeric information? Are you finding out very little about very many people? So if you are doing quantitative research, you need to have a large sample. You need to make sure that people you send the survey to are representative of the population that you are investigating, that you are researching. And if you're doing qualitative studies, you're going to talk to far fewer people, but you're going to need to go far more in depth with these people. Now, the survey and the interview are like the two standard examples of quantitative versus qualitative research. There are many more tools. For instance, if you want to do an experiment, that can actually fall in both categories. I can come up with a gazillion examples, but one more important thing I would say for now is to say that you don't always need to talk to people. Remember those introverts? Yeah, you don't need to talk to people. Okay, so this is a very coronavirus-proof way of doing your research. If you have sources and you compare those sources, that's field research too. I don't mean just, the texts, the literature that we talked about last time, but let's say there are something like, at least 6 big movie versions of Robin Hood, for example. You have one with Kevin Costner, Russell Crowe. There's one from the 1930s with Errol Flynn. There's a Disney version. Compare all those versions of Robin Hood, and by comparing them, you are giving the world new information. So you are giving us new insight. You don't need to talk to a single person to do that, and it is a completely okay way of doing field research. Next time we'll talk about conclusions. What can you conclude and what can you not conclude based on those tools you have used? See you then.